Welcome everyone to day 2 of Division 1 Nationals out here at the Ultimate Frisbee Championships here in New Zealand. I am Austin Clark and I'm joined
by Nick Panu for his first time on a commentary stint, so apologies to all those out there. We have the quarterfinal matchup here between Hammertron, Tāwhirimātea and Dogma. Hammertron pulling up with the pull.
Hailing out of Christchurch, Dogma is in the white jerseys and Hammertron will be in the black jerseys. Hammertron off to a good start, centering the disc and taking an early look downfield to a very competent receiver in Lucas Wilcock. Will he come down with it?
Oh, no. There's a call on the play.
A foul was called almost immediately by Wilcock as that disc was knocked clear of his hands. Did he have possession of the disc before there was contact by the defender? That's what they'll be discussing out there.
Oh, yes, it's an interesting one in the replay. Definitely very close play. It hung in there for a long time, gave a lot of chance for everyone to get underneath it.
As a receiver, Wilcock is used to coming down with those.
Absolutely. He plays expectations like that, which is helping to get onto the New Zealand team this year. Discussion still going on. Looks like
at the end of the day, it looks like they're going to contest the call, which means the disc will be sent back to the thrower and everyone should regain the position they had at the time of the foul.
Oh, Hammertron making a statement of intent there, throwing it long early to the big receiver, making sure Dogma are matching up properly in the deep space, not giving them some easy points. It was Vaughan Wilson with the throw.
To Michael Downey downfield. Downey threatening the big shot again, centering it instead to their head chef, number 33. Hamish Furness.
He's looking
a big downfield gainer now for the Hammertron. Oh, ooh, looks like a foul on the throw after a really nice upline cut.
Physical
there by 53, Will Hamilton.
Physical defense from Dogma there, also making their statement of intent early in the game.
Both of these teams not strangers to long, tough physical games. I think it's going to be a battle of legs towards the end of this game here on the second day, nearing the second half of the day. Good patient offense out of Hammertron.
Just on the sideline. They're getting stuck here quite a lot with high stall counts. Here comes the big
forced
play.
To take a bit of a bailout throw, and unfortunately does not come down with it, despite getting a hand to it.
Excellent defense there from Dogma. Really forced that play multiple times, getting high stall count situations.
Hammertron is going to want to have a look at their handler resets and make sure that they can get the disc off the sideline a little bit earlier. I think that's going to help them open things up. Early cut out of the front of the stack. Now looking for a deep option. Great opportunistic cut from Caleb Milne. Going to get that disc on the sideline. Not looking downfield, rather looking to center it and keep the disc moving.
An attempted poach there from Hamish Furness. Doesn't work out, but he's slowed the play down a little bit.
Really tight defense we're seeing from Hammertron. They're going to be battling for every disc, and it's going to pay off if they can get a couple of turns just from putting pressure on their offensive matchups. The upline look goes off for Dogma. Dogma looks to take a big swing, opening up the field, looking downfield, and opting for a centering pass instead. From an offensive perspective, motion is good. Anytime the disc is in motion, you're going to be at an advantage as an offense. Defense really thrives when the disc gets stagnant and they have a chance to set up and anticipate some plays.
Yeah, we can see the difference between the Dogma offense and the Hammertron offense. They're moving the disc a lot earlier, opening up the field a little bit more, not getting stuck in situations as often. Hammertron defense is working hard though. This is not being given to them.
And Dogma doing a great job to find the poached player, recognizing that the Hammertron defense was trying to catch them off guard, but looking right past that and finding the open player in the end zone. Absolutely clinical offense by Dogma.
Yeah, absolutely. It was well done by them. That's exactly what you want from your first offensive chance. Just keep it working, keep it moving. Everyone gets a touch. If everyone feels that bit of confidence, knowing that we can play this game. It may be a big game, important game, but everyone's in it now. I have to say, it was definitely a battle the whole way. It's not going to be an open, free-flowing game. Both teams are not going to allow that to happen. Let's see what the chef can cook up to help the Hammertron team, though.
So Dogma feeling good, coming out on top for the first point. They're going to want to maintain that momentum going through the rest of this first half.
Second point, we'll see if they go for a different look. You can see Wilcox is on the line still. I assume he will be running long fairly on the point to try and open things up, see if Dogma's still ready for that.
Absolutely. That's his favorite job as a member of this Hammertron team, is just being that huge deep threat, offense or defense. He's always looking to make the big plays in the end zone, in the air. And they've got throwers on this team that can really dish him up something nice.
Good.
Michael Downey coming out of the stack for a cut, but unfortunately never had the opportunity to receive the disc as Dogma took advantage of a little bit of chaos and earned a turnover.
Yeah, smart play there, smart defensive poach. Saw that pass coming a mile away and went in and got a hand on it.
Dogma now taking a long look, but it's going to be overthrown. And that honestly, that happens a lot if you take those shots out of a stagnant position. You're going to want to take those deeper looks, often from motion in your offense. So get a few shorter passes strung together, open up one side of the field, see what the downfield players are doing, and then let her rip. So we'll see if Dogma can learn from their mistakes here.
Yeah, absolutely right. The option was there, but it's a very hard throw, which is why the option was there. As a defense, that's what you want to be giving up. Difficult options, see if the other team can pull it off. They weren't able to this time, so the defense will take that as an absolute win. And Dogma will have to do something different. Back in with Chef Furnace.
I'm sorry, I believe it might be Harry Jones with the disc there. Is that right? Thank you. The team's wrong. That is Furnace. And Hammertron looking to gain a little bit of offensive momentum here. Centering the disc and then swinging it out to the side. Recentering. Keeping that disc in motion is going to be key. Now he's going to find a reset option. And a great break throw opens up the field for a lovely look to Lucas Wilcock, who isn't able to come down with it. Some excellent defense from Dogma there.
Wilcox comes up holding his ankle a little bit. Hopefully he's all right.
Always a tough matchup to win there. So excellent props. Go out to Ellington for making the defensive stop.
Yeah. That's a great play. It's a great battle already.
Ellington taking that matchup there, knows he's going to have his hands full throughout the game, but it's a matter of who steps up and puts their pride on the line and earns that disc in every individual instance.
Once again, it was Wilson throwing to Wilcock. And, yeah, not able to get that connection down. It's something they're going to need to hit work in order to win this game.
Dogma bringing the disc in now. Thinking about sending it long, but there's a call on the field. Unclear.
I think it was a pick. Someone just unfortunately got in the way, ran around another player, and the defense wasn't able to follow correctly. Picks are there to stop dangerous plays happening where two people run into each other. And
the throw goes up anyways into double coverage. Dogma's got a battle here.
Oh,
an excellent defense out of Hammertron, number 15, Alex Quixley.
Read that very well. Got himself in the right position. Made sure the offensive player couldn't sneak around him.
And he did have help in the form of Michael Downey, reading the play just as well, making it even more constricted for that offensive player to come down with it. A nice inside-out shot to open up the break side of the field. And the throw goes back to the head chef. Unfortunately, the dish is sent back to the kitchen. And Dogma quickly capitalized.
Yeah, they weren't happy with that order.
Well, they had to send that back. Hair in it, maybe. Perhaps a little too spicy.
A lesson I've already learned by trying to eat a spicy roll before starting commentary. It really does not help yourself. Might have to point that out to the guys on the field.
So Dogma able to take an early lead here. Hammertron going to be doing a little bit of introspection, figuring out how they can bring this game back. On the far field, just at the top of your screen, during sort of those overview shots you get, you'll see Brightside from Christchurch playing against Otago and Friends, OAF. Brightside would be in orange, and the score over there on that field is currently 3-1 to Brightside.
Looks like a timeout's been called, which is a good call from Hammertron. Generally, if you're given 2 points to start the game, you want to get in there, get the heads back together, restart the game, and yeah, move on.
Absolutely, and we'll see which team is able to come out firing out of this timeout.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Alrighty, we will have Dogma pulling in white to Hammertron, going to receive the disc for the third point of this pre-semi game.
So far, Dogma's come out on match defense, and it's worked quite well for them. Hammertron have kind of got the options they wanted, throwing it long to Wilcock, but it hasn't come down with it, which means Dogma will be very happy with the way the game's going and can continue what they're doing. Let's see if Hammertron can get it together for this point and get their defense out on the field.
Long pull, but just a little bit too much roll on the disc as it trailed out of bounds. Number 53, Will Hamilton, will be bringing the disc in and sending it to Michael Downey downfield.
Wilcock using the dummy to go long there and getting a nice easy under.
Working the disc downfield on the open side. Hammertron looking really confident here. Excellent around throw to get that reset off. Hammertron here happy to take a few yards backwards in order to open up their offense. And it's nearly paid off, but a couple of tight defensive matchups from Caleb Milne and the other handler defenders to shut that movement down. Oh, the disc goes up. Head chef in the kitchen.
Oh, lovely.
Able to make that look easy. Excellent throw. He led him out to space, allowing him to run onto that without too much competition from the defenders.
They found a new recipe, and it's worked out quite well for them now.
Good to see.
Yeah, he was poached off a couple of times in that point, and they weren't able to hit him the very first time. They found him the second time. It was good from Dogma again, just putting pressure on, making it difficult, and there was a chance at the D on the last throw. They won't be unhappy with the way that point went and the way the game started.
And as you notice, they are playing a bit of a switchy, sort of adaptive type of defense, and as the game goes on and the players learn their matchups a bit better, you can expect those matchups to sort of shift in the balance of who's going to win them. Whether Dogma is able to continuously stay one step ahead of Hammertron, or if they figure out the defensive read and take advantage like they did just there.
Exactly. Now we'll get to see Hammertron out on defense. We'll see what they come out with. In the past, they've used a fair number of zones, different zone looks. I'll be interested in, kind of expect that at some point during this game, but Probably first point, you just want to match up and put a bit of pressure on and see if the Dogma O-line is mentally ready for this game.
Absolutely, and they're probably a bit hesitant to pull out a zone just yet, as they've got about 0 wind today. Uncharacteristic for Wellington, but both teams are taking advantage of that with their longer options being very much encouraged. A great undercut by Tāwhirimātea to get some open space, and another follow-up cut. Almost a sniff from the Hammertron defender. The disc is recentered to Fernando, and another quick gainer to number 8. Sending it to the end zone for another point for Dogma.
Justin Lee with the point there.
Oscar Francis with the throw.
It was good offense. They made a similar cuts over and over again, and they were working big cross-field cuts from the far side cutter and the horizontal. Got themselves open, just turned it into a foot race, but a foot race that the defense wasn't ready for. And when they did get stuck on the side, they quickly moved back to the center and kept things going.
And you notice that the Dogma players are really leaving a lot of space downfield for their throwers to throw into. They're staying out of each other's way and letting that foot race develop.
That's very helpful as a handler to have time to know exactly what your option is and to be able to put it in exactly the right space. All right, Hammertron offense back out. They probably would have hoped to have a little bit longer break between points, but I'm sure they now feel the confidence after the last point they'll be able to do their job and get the defense back on the field.
Absolutely. They know that they've got the players on the line that can put together passes and get open for each other. It's just a matter of finding their rhythm. So we'll see how that develops as the game continues. But obviously Dogma will be looking to keep that defensive pressure rising. A nice centering pass. Disc is having really good movement from Hammertron, finding that continuation over to 95. Vaughn Wilson, who sends it deep to his favorite receiver, who catches it comfortably. Another shot. Now we're starting to see Hammertron succeed with those long shots to Lucas Wilcock.
I was watching Wilcock there. He was jinking and jiving back and forth, and that throw was beautiful. He didn't know it was up until he saw it in the air, and it was perfectly placed where only he could get to it first. Good job by the offense. Okay, not sure if that was a deliberate thing, but it was very well done. Unfortunately, just outside of the camera shot is Wilcock going back and forth with his defender, who was put off and in the wrong place. Perfect throw.
That over-the-stack type of huck fading to the break side is a really good option when you've got tall receivers and other people who can just run them down. As long as you see it first, you have a really good shot ahead of your defender with that disc being trailing towards the break side.
As a defender, you've kind of done everything right there and just got beaten by better offense. It's frustrating, but you go off the field knowing that it wasn't a bad thing. It's just the way the game works.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Dogma offense, second chance. Hammertron defense. Let's see what they bring out here. The Hammertron team has a lot of young athletic players, many of them on the D-line. They're quite exciting. They've been building these guys up for many years now. Expect to see some athletic plays.
Tāwhirimātea will catch the first pull and center to Jack Lewis. Over to Lee in the center. Once again, you're seeing lots of open space in the downfield. Dogma creating great motion, and another long shot goes up to Fernando. Can he run it down? The man's got legs, and the man's got hands. Brings it down in the end zone off a great throw.
Seems both the legs and hands are working quite well at the moment. That was a perfectly timed cut. The disc got passed up the line to the handler, and you immediately saw all of the cutters put their heads down right to the end zone, give an option, and the throw was absolutely perfect, put out in front.
Here we'll see it again, noting that these successful looks into the deep space are coming off motion, And there it goes out into space. Fernando running it down quite comfortably despite losing his hat. To remain focused after you're having your hat fly off is just truly, truly inspirational.
You could say it helped with aerodynamics. Fernando does have a young baby, so he may have needed that extra boost from the hat falling off.
Yeah, agreed. Hammertron receiving the pull here, centering again to 53, Will Hamilton. Once again centering to Will Hamilton, being an absolute pivot point for this Hammertron offense. Over to Michael Downey, who finds a wide open Alex Quixley, perhaps wide open due to a pick. That will be resolved shortly.
Just discussing whether the defender catches up or whether this should go back. It looks like the defender is going to take up the position he would have had if the pick hadn't happened.
But agreeing that he would not have had a play on the disc, and therefore the receiver will retain possession. Ooh, a tricky little break around to get that disc swung, but now getting some good motion in the disc. Lucas Wilcox floating that disc out to space for a nice swing. An unfortunate underthrow by 33, Furness.
Yeah. Dogma doing a hard no-around force, and it's every swing that Hammertron's had to do has been quite difficult if they don't do it immediately. But that was not due to that. It was just an unfortunate misthrow.
And a big rip right off the bat. It's a quick throw. Oh my gosh! And what a leap by number 9, Uttridge. Unfortunately, the disc was a little too high and a little too quick for him to get up there and touch it and reel that one in. But really good effort. Absolute bullet on that huck there.
I think he got a finger to it, and that's an incredible leap.
He did not have the luxury of running that one down. There was too much heat on it. And a notable effort getting up into the air, nearly bringing that one down, and doing his thrower a real big favor. The hammer for the swing. Hammertron using all the tricks in their basket. Unfortunately, have maybe tricked themselves. Unfortunate turnover on the own end zone line. Hammertron going to need to turn up the defense here. 77, Bryn Douglas bringing the disc in for an easy score for Dogma.
Yeah, lovely. Set up an isolation play, just put the disc into space. Offense only has a chance of getting it. It was nicely done. Unfortunately, Hammertron with the executors of their own demise there with a couple of soft turnovers that are uncharacteristic of them. Yeah, this was unfortunate. I feel maybe Furness needs that chef hat back on. It doesn't seem to have helped taking it off.
It is still early on in this game, and both teams looking to shift or keep the momentum in their favor. Hammertron especially going to need to keep their heads up and find that fire in order to battle back for halftime, and then hopefully for a win, if they can muster it.
Hammertron have the players, they have the strength to come out and win this game. Yeah, the game's not going to be over until the final point is scored, that is for sure.
Dogma bringing their D-line out. Looking to keep the momentum in their favor. And the pull's coming up. A high pull, maybe just trailing out. So the disc will be brought back in at the brick mark.
Yeah, Bryn Douglas is an excellent puller. Wasn't quite able to keep that one in the field. It was looking nice until the end.
Will Hamilton starting with the disc for Hammertron. A nice inside break shot to Michael Downey. Threatens deep, finds an open player under, who continues it for a huge grab by Alex Quick sleeve.
That was a great play. It was lovely movement. They got the throws off nice and early. Players were cutting exactly the right time, and Quixley came up with a big play to keep the
Huge
game going.
bid. Love to see it. Hammertron is going to need that kind of fire, laying your body on the line, picking up those low throws, and yeah, props to Hammertron for finding a beautiful offensive flow there.
You see that? The cut came the moment that the handler got the disc in the space, had the time to throw it. The throw could have been better, but Quixley made up for it. That was an excellent play.
Absolutely. You don't make the highlight reel off a perfect throw.
Absolutely right.
And over on the far field, we have an update on scores with the Brightside versus Oaf game. With Brightside up 7-3, nearing halftime over there. So both of them trading a bit of points, but Brightside definitely pulling ahead. We'll see if Oaf is able to pull back some points and even it out. So Dogma in the lead with 5 points to Hammertron's 3. The Christchurch team is going to be happy about this one.
Yeah, they should be. Let's see what the Hammertron defense can do. So far, Dogma's offense has been fine.
Ooh, a bit of a sniff from the Hammertron player there.
Looks like a zone look here. We've got a bunch of players taking away those unders.
Disc is swung to Richard Fernando, who finds the upline look to Jack Lewis. Jack Lewis looking to direct traffic, centers it again to Fernando.
Hammertron has switched back to match. It was looking at the zone look just for the initial few passes. Now Dogma's offense is a little bit static, thinking it was zone.
It looks like Hammertron's transition type defense has thrown a bit of a wrench in the gears of Dogma. They're able to create some stagnation in the offense and able to create an error for their offense. Really good job by Hammertron to effectively work that defense. Now they're going to have to convert it if they're going to stay in the game. Looking like a foul has been called off that apparent drop disc. Foul called by the Hammertron player, feeling that he was contacted as he was trying to make that grab. We'll see it again here.
Pass was slightly behind him. He had to turn and change direction. It's very hard to see from this angle what actually happened. We'll see what the players come up with.
Definitely a tight call. It's going to be. Looks like it will be contested. So both players felt that they had a fine perspective, did not reach an agreement. Play will resume with the disc going back to the thrower. Teo Linnert's on the mark from Dogma. Disc is centered. Hammertron looking to create motion, getting a nice downfield gainer. And comfortable resets for their offense. I won't say that Dogma's making it easy for them. In fact, Richard Fernando putting in the work, using those legs and getting in position to intercept that pass 100% cleanly. That's a good read and even better effort for Fernando to create that defense.
It was a big play. It was a bit of pressure there from the Dogma defense. It was making this very difficult.
Teo Linnert's throwing an inside throw there. And the Dogma offense looking to punch this one in. Extend their lead over Hammertron.
Hammertron are back in their sort of poachy, zony, somewhat look.
The hammer option in this low wind situation is on. We'll see if either team starts to look for it for those cross-field gainers. Don't need it. They've taken the easy option, working with their legs to get open. And Richard Fernando feeling quite chuffed about that one.
Could have been a hammer, but they decided that it would be easier to just throw a normal, straightforward pass. Yeah.
There you see Richard Fernando getting in front of that throw, earning that defensive block, and now does the team the service of a nice, easy throw into the end zone.
I loved the change in look there from Hammertron. Did expect them to bring out some sort of zone looks, and it worked really well, stagnating the Dogma offense. They got the turnover, but unfortunately weren't able to really push downfield with it.
We're just seeing a few execution errors on the Hammertron side that's kind of been the downfall of the first half of this game for them. If they can clean those up, they're easily with the Dogma side.
I agree. There has been some excellent defensive pressure, but a lot of the turnovers have not come from the defensive pressure.
Here we're seeing a long, deep shot out of the handler space. Doesn't go up, though. Dogma having reacted well enough to cover that look. And now the crossfield blade. It's a perfectly paced throw and an amazing grab by the Hammertron player.
Huge bid for the Dogma defender. We've seen that play already. This time it came down to Hammertron's favor. It's obviously something they've practiced a little. There was a nice switching play on defense there from Dogma at the start when Hammertron tried to run a specific downfield cutting play. Hammertron read it, and Downey got a nice underpass in order to continue the offense.
There you can see Will Hamilton recognizing where his defender's playing and getting that separation. Throwers on the same page, and they get a great score in the end zone. That's excellent offense from Hammertron.
So it looks like another timeout has been called. Using Hammertron now, we're going into this timeout feeling a lot more confident. The game's now turned around. They know they're in it. They've scored a few points. The defense has got turnovers. They'll just be building on that confidence, knowing that they can go the whole way and win this game.
Absolutely. They're going to hope to get a couple more points before half so that they can come out of that halftime firing and look to give Dogma a run for their money towards the end of the game. And the Dogma team, what do you expect to see from them in these coming points?
Well, yeah, this is the thing. Just like put the foot on the throat. They have played well. They haven't been able to open up. They've got a lead, but they haven't opened up a big lead. It's a dangerous one now where they feel like they have controlled the game so far, but 1 point can change everything, and change momentum. So they just got to know we put the foot on the throat and we continue. We don't let them back into this game. Don't let them feel like that Hammertron are in this game at all. They've played each other many times before. This is not a new battle. They'll be feeling a certain understanding. They played each other earlier on this tournament, the very first game of the tournament, which is obviously a different situation to this game, where Dogma won 15-11. Absolutely means nothing when it comes to quarterfinal time. Most teams in the early pool games will be doing something different, running slightly different lines, maybe playing different defense looks. You will have honed that in by this point in the tournament.
Absolutely. A little coming out of that timeout. Hammertron with the pull, having just punched in a very gritty point.
Now, what do we expect? Hopefully, in that timeout, they should have talked about what they're going to do right now. I want something creative.
They're going to have to figure out a way to slow Dogma down, create that stagnation that did, in fact, get them a turn earlier on in the game. That transition zone to match defense worked well for them. We'll see if they bring that out again. And Dogma may be a little bit more prepared for it this time. We'll see if they just punch right through.
Definitely a personal favourite of mine, and if you never understand whether the other team's playing a zone or match defence, that is the exact kind of confusion that you want as a defensive team.
Big pull from Hammertron, number 48, Poick. And nearly the sniff on defense from our puller.
Big pressure on that pass.
Hammertron very tight on defense. Ooh, another potential sniff, but Dogma maintained possession. Trying to find that downfield movement. A great cut opens up the wide side for Jack Lewis, who sends it long for number 59, Luke Doyle not able to come down with it. An excellent defensive play.
Huge play. Hammertron have brought out their offense, or many of the offensive players for this point. Feels like that was the change they wanted. They wanted to have these options, force Dogma to throw it long, and it has worked out for them on defense.
Now we're seeing Hammertron create some offensive flow. They're looking like they're on the front foot here in this point. Oh, and the disc is just overthrown. Not able to run it down. Joseph Powick, after a great defensive effort on that point. Unfortunate to see that disc just trail out of reach. Richard Fernando for Dogma bringing the disc in. Easy centering pass, just getting things moving. Acting as a nice pivot point for the Dogma offense. Disc going long with a great read and a great leap by Sam Teo Linarts.
Yeah, Teo Linarts knows how to put his body in the right place and come down with those discs. Plenty of experience there. That was lovely offense from Dogma. They got just 2 passes to open up the break side, and the cutting players were there at the right moment to be able to continue the play and allow that option down the far side of the field.
Absolutely. Speed is a lot of the sport. It's important to have quick players on your team who can change direction, but timing is even more important, I would argue.
Absolutely. The sport is heavily favored towards offense as long as the offense knows that and takes advantage of it. It is a great feeling as a player to get the disc, look up and see a person in the space that you want to throw it at the moment that you get it. No pressure on, just put it there.
Dogma doing a great job to keep that disc moving around the backfield, allowing your downfield to sort of see the timing of the throws and time their cuts to perfection, just like we saw there.
Once again, Hammertron got a turnover, but weren't able to convert. Now they've got to punch it in on offense to continue this game in this half.
Dogma up 7-4 now. If they were to take this point, we would be at halftime, and that'd be a huge benefit to Dogma. So Hammertron really not wanting to give this one up, keeping that flow going on offense. Confident around break from Lucas Wilcock, who immediately goes deep. Can he come down with it? Gets a big, comes down with a huge grab off a bullet throw. And can he find the last throw into the end zone, make the right decision? He finds Michael Downey for a reset. And putting in the work for his team, snatching discs out of the air, right out of the face of the Dogma defender. He is fouled on the hammer fake, it looks like. And disc will be back in for a nice cut.
A lovely little push pass to score by Vaughan Wilson. Huge by Wilcock there. I absolutely love that. It was a questionable throw through the middle of 3 defenders, and Wilcock just absolutely powered up and took to the sky to grab that down.
Recognizing that he is not going to get a second chance at it if it goes over his head. Finds the skies.
Oh, look at that. Player after player jumping in vain. Wilcock just taking her well above everyone's heads.
And finding the nice push pass to a very confident cutter in Vaughan Wilson.
Lovely bit of indoor play there. Push pass is a viable option.
Obviously, as a defense, you really hate getting scored on that front cone, but sometimes it just takes one half misstep, and that offender is right by you, and yeah, it stings.
Yep. Again, foot race always favors the person who's in front.
Well said, Nick.
So Hammertron coming out again, looking to extend the first half. They know they've got turnovers in the last couple of defensive points. They want to do it again. This time push it in.
If they can earn a break back before halftime by punching this one in, they'll be in a much better position coming out of half. Sam Teo Linarts picks up the first pass, centers the disc to 49 Jack Lewis, back to Teo Linarts.
Yeah, they've got a side stack kind of look, and it's very poachy defense from the Hammertron, which is doing well. Again, the Dogma cutters are a little bit static.
Hammertron may be figuring out how to slow this offense down. Will Dogma be able to make things happen with their legs, get into position with a variety of offensive looks like we're seeing here? Downfield threats, big unders, and then some quick movement out of the handler space. Oscar finding a long cross-field throw to Fernando, finding Teo Linhart to Jack Lewis, and now the cross-field look has been picked off by the Hammertron defense. Great heads-up play, not letting those cheeky looks across the field work out for the Dogma team. Now transitioning to offense, they need to find that different mentality. It's still a workhorse mentality, but Hammertron having to put it long on a high stall count, not able to find their receiver in the deep area.
Oh no, there's an injury on the thrower, it looks like. Unfortunate.
We're going to have a stoppage here to check on our injured player. Looks like he's holding his hamstring.
Yeah, good defense from Dogma there. Hammertron got a little bit static, and Dogma made sure that that static turned into a high stall count situation. Had to throw up the big throw, and Dogma made sure they didn't come down with it either.
Absolutely. Hammertron with some really good heads-up defense on that point. Looking to transition into offense, however, they need to maintain that intensity, getting open for their throwers. Unfortunately, in that instance, Dogma really coming out with a tight defense all the way through the end of the stall count. It's easy as a defender as a defensive team, rather, to let up a little bit of pressure towards stall 7, stall 8. But Dogma doing a really good job to force an non-ideal throw out of the Hammertron team.
Yeah, exactly. I love the defensive look. Again, that Dogma thought they had an open throw. It wasn't. They had done well with patience up until then, but yeah, so the Hammertron look just makes you think in a way that you haven't been thinking all season, all through training. It's hard to do suddenly, to learn that change in the middle of a quarterfinal at Nationals.
So play will resume with Dogma taking possession after a long throw that was unsuccessful off a high stall count from Hammertron. Hammertron calling for a force to the near side, and a big throw goes up straight away to Richard Fernando. Once again, we're looking for those legs pumping, and he catches it just shy of the end zone. Needs a bit of composure to find the right throw here. Ooh. And the disc has hit the ground. A foul is called. Looks like there was heavy contact on the arm. Throwing around the defender there.
Uncontested foul. Somewhat lazy pivoting from Fernando there, but he is savvy enough to make sure that doesn't get taken advantage of.
Fernando using the left hand, placing a nice dishy pass into the bread basket of Jack Lewis. Jack Lewis putting in a lot of work for the Dogma team today. You're seeing him touch the disc every third pass. Really working out for Dogma. Great to have a player like that as an asset.
I'm loving that from both teams. Lots of young, up-and-coming talents who are doing a lot of work in this game. It's a really great sign for New Zealand Ultimate. It's a great sign for their programs, what they've managed to do and build up new players. Giving them that confidence to be able to be the workhorse and get a lot of touches on the disc.
Also gives a chance for those old dads like Richard Fernando to take a bit of a break.
Absolutely. That right there is a experienced, savvy play there. Why move when you can just throw a little lefty to score?
And that is half. So Dogma, having taken half, will be feeling quite good about that. Hammertron not trailing too far behind, though. Definitely within striking distance of the Dogma team.
The score is 8-5, as we know, the most dangerous score in Ultimate. I'm sure Dogma feel confident. We'll see how the second half goes.
I am Austin Clark.
And I am Nick Panu.
And we will catch you after halftime.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
One knee, Warren, one knee. Okay, Dogma, bring it in. Yeah, but it's one of those things.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Dogma versus Hammertron matchup here in New Zealand at Division 1 Nationals. I am Austin Clark.
And I am Nick Panu. And we are here in Tāwhirimātea. On a very lovely day. Little to no wind, which is meaning there's a nice offensive game going on here.
Yeah, seeing a lot of clean holds out of teams across the tournament, meaning no turnovers on their offensive points. Dogma will be looking for one of those right now. Sam Taylor Leonard's attacking the middle of the field. Dogma opting to swing it to the sideline again. Jack Lewis, always a threat, upline, looking for two different offensive receivers in the deep space, finding a beautiful swing over to Richard Fernando. And Dogma doing a great job keeping this disc moving. Making their throws and catches look very casual. That's what you want as an offense.
Oh, lovely upline cut there.
And a huge hammer goes across the field.
Lovely catch. Justin Lee did a good job there, taking care of the disc.
Lulling the opposition into a false sense of security with a lot of very standard upline and under looks, and then whipping out the huge hammer against Hammertron.
Oh dear, throwing one in their faces is a little unfortunate. I love the option. I love the look. It was done nice and early and into space. Yeah, it's great when you got it. As you'll see here, Justin completely open by himself on the far side of the field.
Two hands straight up in the sky. Gotta receive that one. Secure that. When you see those hammers coming out of the sky towards you, can be a bit nerve-wracking, but very good work. I believe that was Justin Lee who brought that one down.
Yeah, one of the tallest players on the field having to take it by his ankles. Maybe some work
That's
on
a sign
there.
of a great throw, no doubt.
All right, Dogma defense back out in the field. In the first half, they were able to put on a lot of pressure, had a sharp, no-around force, put Hammertron in a lot of high stall situations and taking their secondary options. I imagine they'll probably look to do the same thing because it was working quite well.
Having this 9-5 lead, Dogma will be using a little bit more of the depth of their roster in these upcoming points, I would imagine. Not only relying on their talented veteran players. Hammertron now working the disc down the field. Oh, Alex Quixley sending a disc just a little too low for the long arms of Lucas Wilcock, having to lay out a bit behind himself.
Once again,
getting a hand to it, but not able to keep that disc in there.
Yeah, once again, one of the tallest players in the field trying to reach down to his ankles. Probably one of his weaknesses, although there are not many on that man.
Caleb Milne making a very dangerous upline cut and having a comfortable reset. Hammertron looking to turn up the pressure on the marks here and maybe stop some of these upline looks from Dogma. They've been a threat all game, and they can really put a team on the back foot as a defense. Lucas Wilcock there sniffing that, once again, that upline look, and unfortunately, right when it comes to the crucial upline throw, we find a turnover from Dogma.
Trying to jam it in the jam hole there, and it didn't quite work. There's the jammer going off.
You know, as an offense, you get into a bit of a rhythm. You're like, look, it's worked 3 times, just jamming it up the line. I'm going to try for that 4th, and by that time, maybe the defense has had enough, and they found that pressure. Excellent shakes from 53. Will Hamilton to get the disc. And a huge shot goes up from Michael Downey to a comfortable reception by Vaughn Wilson. Thank you.
Yes, that was that's an old connection. They've played together quite a lot. Knew exactly the right time to go, put it in the right place. The defender had to try and track all the way around Vaughn to get a bit on that, and it's a difficult thing to do. You got to be special to be able to run around a player while they're in full stride.
And once again, it comes down to timing. Michael Downey sending that disc into a very comfortable receiving space for Vaughn Wilson, not making him work too hard to bring that down. Just relying on that expertise and downfield positioning on that reception. Excellent work from Hammertron. Way to answer back.
So Hammertron defense back out again. Again, we'll be looking. I expect them to throw this interesting zoney kind of poachy look that they've done, which has done a good job on stagnating Dogma's offense. Get a turnover and make it count.
Low pull down the center of the field, centered immediately to Jack Lewis, stalwart in the Dogma teams. Teo Linard's making a nice grab and immediately finding Jack Lewis again, keeping that motion really quick in the downfield. And just like that, Dogma have punched it in maybe record time, maybe one of the fastest points we've had. Putting together 8 or 9 really quick, confident passes, a lot of off-the-disc movement that's really created great options for Dogma there.
Yeah, still admiring the play moving up the field so quickly. They didn't really notice that they just punched it straight in. Took advantage of the big open player, the slight poach from the Hammertron player, and yeah, well done, Dogma.
Dogma did a great job on that point and staying ahead of the disc. When that disc is moving up the field quickly, it can be easy as a downfield player to find yourself behind play and not really a threat. Dogma did a great job of staying in front of that and always providing options for their thrower, creating a very fluid offense there. Over on the far side, we're getting a score update. We've got Brightside with 13 points to Oaf with 5. So they have continued to extend their lead over there. Oaf will be looking to get a couple points back before the end of their game. Hammertron receiving the disc. Nice throw to Vaughn Wilson for a small undergainer. Finding his next option in Alex Quixley.
So Dogma still staying with match defense, but they switched it up to a backhand force there.
Lucas Wilcock climbing the ladder.
Oh.
Reminding us that he's not just tall, but he can also jump, and finds the next throw into the end zone for a perfectly timed cut from Michael Downey.
It's really unfair when tall people learn how to jump.
Yeah, you expect that they wouldn't be good at it because they've never really had to jump for things in their life. They could just reach it.
I know. How tall is this house? What does he need to jump for in there?
Yeah, good question.
But that was a lovely play. So there was a slight confusion at the beginning understanding the force. I think Dogma beat themselves slightly. You can see the players were just a little bit off. You play forehand force for the whole game up until one point towards the end, and players are often just a little bit slow at getting in the right position. And Hammertron took advantage of that and scored a nice easy point.
Vaughn Wilson there, just not quite realizing that the disc wasn't intended for him, but maybe had a moment of brilliance at the end to take his hand back and let Lucas Wilcock climb the ladder and bring that disc down.
All right, so far in the second half, 4 points in, been trading. Each team has been scoring their offensive points. Hammertron looking to get the first break and break this game right open.
Big pull out of number 63, Liam Weston. Oh, and a zony look from Hammertron here. Lehigh Kapoor on the mark, but Dogma punching through perhaps a little too easily. A long crossfield look brought down by number 87.
Lovely throw at the line. It was a big catch and a lovely break throw to finish that point off. Once again, Dogma threw the crossfield throw that has resulted in a couple of turnovers, but this time Hammertron weren't ready for it. They got broken through the first line a little too easily, and that spacing left Hammertron scrambling.
There you can see that wide open player taking advantage of the position on the zone. Great job by Noah Vollett to bring that disc down a little quick and a little high, but when you've got all that space, you can time your jump well and punch it in, taking advantage of the defense being out of position.
Showing off his hops and his read. Yeah, Hammertron weren't quite able to slow Dogma down on that point. Hammertron offense back out there. Keep rolling like they have been so far in the second half.
Hammertron putting out a very consistent line. Not seeing a lot of changes made. Very much relying on their strongest players to bring them back into this game. Disc just landing out of bounds there. Furness will bring this disc in on the brick mark. Hammertron offense running a center stack right now. But maybe recognizing that Dogma's got a bit of a poachy look, maybe a bit of a zone, and they're going to have to adjust accordingly.
Do that immediately. There's a big hammer across field. He's seen it. He's thrown it.
No win today. Those overhead options are definitely on. If you've got confident throwers, they can really break open a zone.
And I know Hammertron have that. They play a lot of zone on defense. They'll have practiced against it a lot on offense. And
just like that.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful zone offense there.
Really terrific. All it takes is that one over-the-top throw, opening up the zone, and then having the confidence and the composure to put together a couple of really quick little passes like that. Excellent work from Hammertron.
I'll be interested. I feel Dogma might put the zone away after that point. They weren't able to slow down Hammertron at all, and their match defense has been doing very well. They tried things on the last 2 defensive points, I think, because of Hammertron scoring comfortably after half, wanting to see if Hammertron can offense can adapt. The offense has adapted, and maybe got a bit of confidence from that adaptation.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, Dogma, you got to give it a try with the zone. You got to see if they can handle it, because you might get away with a couple of easy turnovers if you throw it on them. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work, you're going to have to just do the work in your individual matchups and win that match defense just with your legs and your brains.
Those legs. Hard work. I assume that's why you're here commentating.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Too hard for me. Those boys run fast.
You've already clocked Ultimate. You did it once. Yeah. Now you time to.
I mastered it now. Off into retirement. Massive pull coming in from Hammertron. Dogma with the white jerseys from Christchurch, trying to react to this slightly poachy, slightly zony look from Hammertron. You can see the players in the zone looking over their shoulders, making sure that they're taking away the biggest threats. That's the key bit as a downfield player in a zone. You need to be sure that you're doing the most you possibly can to take away that offensive threat. Ooh, Jack Lewis finding a little bit of upline space and zips it through the middle of the zone to find Fernando, and then gets it right back. Good patience from Dogma, not afraid to go a bit backwards, to go a bit forwards.
Yeah, they're doing a very good job against the zone. The zone is doing well. There's no wind. There's nothing here. It's all up to the players to constantly adjust and take away the most obvious options.
Noah Vala finding Luke Doyle in the end zone there. Really excellent clinical zone offense. Not rushing anything, not taking any opportunities that weren't there. Really good work by both teams to punch through their opposition's zone defense.
Yeah, it's a bit of a clinic, really. The quality of offense in general in New Zealand has improved drastically. It's helped. Everyone plays a bit of zone. Everyone plays a bunch of different looks, and people have learned how to come up against it. And it warms my heart a little bit seeing the skills on display.
We have a result out of the Brightside Oaf game with Noah House taking Brightside into the end of the game with 15-6. Multiple scores by Noah House to end the game. Oaf won 2 out of 3 games today. Really fought hard in this Brightside match.
Yeah, Oaf had to win both those games in order to make it into the quarterfinals. They did a good job. They just obviously ran out of legs a little bit when it came to this game.
So just now we had an offsides call by Hammertron. Dogma leaving their line just a little bit prior to the pull, to the disc leaving the puller's hand. So they will take it from the brick mark. Slight advantage to Hammertron. Still a lot of work to do here on offense. A very tight defensive look from Dogma. Ooh, and an amazing inside look by Michael Downey to find Alex Quixley in the inside. Can they keep this momentum into the end zone?
Yeah, Dogma with a zone again. Didn't expect that. Maybe Hammertron didn't expect that. They've had a couple of close sniffs here. They'll be hoping to get another one as the field compresses a little bit.
So far, Hammertron not blinking in the face of the tight zone, and a nice overhead confident blade there.
And I assume Wilcock did not blink as that just came floating out of the sun straight towards him. One of those ones that you really pray you don't have to try and catch on the field. He did an excellent job of it. And great offense in general there from Hammertron.
There you see Will Hamilton send that blade to a very casual receiver in Lucas Wilcock.
Once again taking it around his ankles.
Yeah, the thing about height, though, is you don't want to use it up if you don't have to. It's a finite resource.
Yes. Something that obviously happened to me from birth.
Sorry to hear that.
It is what it is. I found out the resources.
So 12-9 to Dogma. Hammertron trailing by 3. Showing that they do have the offensive capabilities to score points in this game, but are going to need their defense to create those opportunities in the first place. High pull there with a lot of hang time, unfortunately just trailing out of bounds.
Weston has a lovely pull that just hangs and lets the defense chase down, but wasn't able to keep it in the field at the time.
Jack Lewis once again bringing the disc in for Dogma.
Isolating.
Big job from for Lehigh Kapoor, matching up against Jack Lewis, or being the front of this zone defense. Ooh, and nearly had that disc slip out of his hands.
The whole
There,
crowd.
Oscar Francis.
Yeah, the whole crowd thought it was there.
Richard Fernando directing traffic here. Finding Jack Lewis on the opposite side.
Jack Lewis has been controlling these points for Dogma very well.
Big mark from Manaya Taiapa.
Good job slowing things down. Dogma haven't made much progress.
This is exactly what Hammertron is going to want to see. They want the point of a zone is to make the offense throw a lot of throws. When you see them break through and it's just a few, then you failed as a zone. But this is going to go. This is definitely closer to what Hammertron's looking for. Now they just have to tighten down, and they weren't able to create the pressure early enough, and Dogma punch it in with more crispy offense.
Crispy. You can say that again. The last throw was probably would have been asking, the receiver already would have been asking for him to put it slightly higher. Again, the ankles are being bitten here. But it was completely open. They've done a great job here. The Hammertron player tried to come in for the poach block. Wasn't able to get there in time. Yeah, nice cake at his ankles as running across.
And players of this caliber, if you throw them a throw at their ankles, they're not going to be happy about it, but they will be upset with themselves that they don't come away with it. So Oscar Francis probably confidently catching that one, despite the difficulty.
He could have laid out and made it a proper highlight play.
Yeah, I mean, we would have appreciated it, and any chance you can lay out, you probably should be, especially when you're on the streamed game.
Yeah.
I don't know if the teams would have been talking about that at halftime, but valuable to keep that as perspective.
There was a chance for your family to see that. All your friends, replay it forever, the rest of your life.
Relive the glory days,
It's all I have now.
Whew, amen.
These guys are still living out their glory days.
Big pull from number 77, Bryn Douglas. And Hammertron back on the offensive foot.
Little give and go play with Wilcock there on the far side, isolating all the cutters on the far side of the field.
Making himself a huge deep threat and then gaining lots of yards underneath with a quick change of direction.
Very smart play. The only problem is now they're trapped on that sideline, which Dogma's done very well on before, but they jam it in.
They jammed it up that line. Never even looking to the opposite side of the field. Look, it's worked out for them today.
Hey, if it works, it works. It's a three-dimensional field, and they're using some of those dimensions.
Yeah, well, when you only need the one, maybe two.
Ooh, that was a nice cut there. Just putting the defender off slightly by shimmying one way and then ducking down inside and swimming underneath him to get open in the corner.
And once again, the defense, they know about that front cone. They know that's where the offense wants to score. They'd be doing everything they can to stop it, but sometimes the margins are too slim, and they eke it past you. It's frustrating, but you adapt. You try to do better, a little bit better the next point. So Hammertron bringing the score to 13-10.
Timeout called here. Hammertron out there having a little discussion. They know they need to break to tighten this game up. At the moment, the way it's flowing, it's just going to end up with a relatively comfortable Dogma victory. Both teams' offense has been too good in the second half. Hammertron need to do something to change that, and that's what they'll be discussing right now.
Once again, this is a game to 15, so only a few points left for Hammertron to create their opportunities.
Absolutely right. All it takes is one break and one break of scoring on when the other team starts on offense, and there'll be that little bit of doubt that'll creep into the mind of Dogma. A little bit more pressure. Anything can happen towards the end of the game.
Hammertron not having the luxury of resting any of their players that they need throughout this tournament, needing to put their best line forward now. Not a lot of time left in this game. They're going to have to turn on the Jets now. With the format of this tournament, it is in every team's best interest to keep the scores tight. The point differential does have an effect on their final standing. And so getting into the end of this game, every point remains important. Pull from Hammertron. Big one. This one just staying in bounds. Excellent pull right where you want it to land, with your defense landing on their marks right around the same time. Ooh, a bit of a sniff for Hammertron, but a comfortable swing pass for Dogma. Back to Richard Fernando. A nice inside break shot to Oscar Francis. Looking to slow things down, keep the offense flowing without making any errors. As Nick's mentioned, it's a bit of an offensive favored sport. Defense has to force the offense to make a mistake. But Dogma not showing any signs of that.
One thing is, at the end of the day, these teams are playing their fifth game for the tournament. They will be a little bit more tired. Mistakes can happen just by having to constantly run around and play.
Oscar Francis getting the disc in the middle, trying to be an option. Jack Lewis once again, swinging it to Richard Fernando, who sends it wide to Teo Linarts.
Very patient here for Dogma. They have open players, they just need to wait for the moment to find them.
Oh, and Richard Fernando finds a great option in Justin Lee in the middle of the field for a good gainer. Not rushing, just taking their time, finding the resets that Hammertron is giving them. Teo Linart's on the sideline now. Swinging via Jack Lewis to Lee. Again to Jack Lewis. They are marching their way towards this end zone. Happy to be swinging the disc back and forth. This is just clinical offense. This is what you would coach, isn't it?
This is exactly what I try and coach.
You don't see it that often, though.
It's quite different, yes. Executing under this kind of pressure in this situation is wonderful to see. Hammertron are doing a good job of slowing it down, though.
But they're going to have to show a little bit more defensive fire to find that sniff, because they don't have a lot longer in this field.
No. At the moment now, they're looking at frustration. Dogma's had a lot of passes near the end zone without scoring. There's a chance that you push one that's just a little bit not there.
Oscar Francis with a big fake finds Richard Fernando, just acting. Oscar acting as the pivot for this Dogma offense. And you can see the Hammertron players really getting gassed here.
Looks like there was some sort of discussion that happened a few passes ago that some of the players stopped.
And you can tell the exhaustion in this long point. A lot of downfield players doing work, offense and defense. You can just see a lot of hands on knees.
It's been a long, hot day. They've been doing a lot of running. There's only a little bit more to go. Find it deep in the tank.
Oscar Francis finding Teo Linarts. Always prepared for these situations as an Eagle Scout. Ooh.
Huge bird.
Pulling out his pocket knife, throwing a big dagger across the field to Richard Fernando. Old buds, those two. And there it is.
Well,
a lot of patient offense and punching it in.
That was well done. Richard Fernando did a good job on that point. Made a lot of the passes that really annoy the defense, that made them run a hell of a lot, opening up the field. Great patience near the end zone. Again, it's very easy to just try and jam one in because you buy the end zone. It just takes one pass to score. They didn't. They waited to the right moment and took advantage when it was there.
There we're seeing that great cross-field dagger by Teo Linarts. Kind of the nail in the coffin there for that zone defense that put up quite a battle.
Huge bid by Taiapa. So close to getting a hand on that one. All right,
oh, there we see that bid again. Feet trailing behind.
It's you can feel the pain as it just inches past the outstretched arm. He'll be remembering that one in his sleep tonight.
And all right, Dogma pulling 14-10 to Dogma. If they're able to punch this one in, they'll take the game away.
They'll be in the semi-finals with a chance to play Groot and get some revenge against them tomorrow morning. Oh, here we go.
Hammertron with a huge look to Alex Quixley, who brings it down inside the end zone. Really good showing from Hammertron. Not interested in playing these long, drawn-out points. Much more interested in punching it in quickly. Absolutely brilliant look from Hammertron.
They have done that after the first few points. They've done very well in the long shots. That was lovely, well executed, and kind of getting it in stride. Vaughn Wilson has been excellent on his long shots.
Yeah, there you see Vaughn Wilson's throw just floating perfectly into the arms of Alex Quixley. Excellent pace on the throw, great shape on it, trailing back towards his receiver, out of the arm's reach of his defender, and a very comfortable point for Hammertron. They're going to need to keep that momentum for the next, well, for the rest of the game.
Yeah, 4 more points. Hammertron has to score all of them. If Dogma gets one, it's game over. You can see the Hammertron players out in the field. They're revving up their defense, telling them, we got your backs. Let's go out there. Let's do this. You got to find it deep in the tank.
And every player on the Hammertron line needing to be invested. As a defensive line, you rely on your sideline team members to give you information about the field, tell you what's behind you, tell you what throws are happening, so that you can maintain your focus on the player you're marking. It's a really crucial part of the game as a team. Great pull. A lot of hang time there. Hammertron looking to get under it before the first pass goes off. First pass is not for yards. Really nice work by Hammertron to get down there. Jack Lewis finding a big gainer to the center of the field. To number 39, Wong. Richard Fernando with the disc again. Fakes the long option. He's got two people in the reset space, one being Jack Lewis and the other, the receiver now, Luke Doyle. Teo Leonard's catching it a little bit on the break side. Finding the next break look. Oh, and a big sniff there from Lucas Wilcock. Nearly earning that turnover that the team so desperately needs.
Oh, there we go.
And we've seen it before, and we're seeing it again, that crossfield a little bit too low. Jack Lewis getting a little too eager with his crossfield throw, and the heads-up play there from 65.
Yep. 45.
45. I can read.
The name is unfortunately not on our list right here. Maybe a last-minute shirt change has put us off. Well-read play.
Excellent heads-up defense from Hammertron there.
A little bit of soft throw. Crossfield, trying to throw crossfield is always a bit of a dangerous option. Doing it at chest height, especially so.
So after earning that turnover, Hammertron recognizing that they need to change their mentality going into offense, so they've called a timeout. Just to reset, establish their plan, and come out with the right mentality, not trying to force anything, just making sure that they value that disc and do not give it up.
Yes, it's very important for them to comfortably score this. If they do that, the little bit of doubt comes into Dogma's minds. They go back and think, oh, we should have scored that point. We were working it up nicely. Keep the doubt going. See how the game finishes off. Seen bigger runs than this to win games.
Absolutely.
Looks like he was winding up a bit of a practice huck there. What's the bet that Wilcock's going to make it cut deep?
You know, given his position on the field and in the stack, I'd say he's definitely going to be their first look. Under or deep, he will be trying to keep the defense guessing on that. But if I were defending him, I would definitely have a preference on which way I'd mark him.
Well, you know you can get help from other players going under, but if he goes deep, it's just you and him, and we've already seen what his ladder skills are like. And there we go, first cut. Good poach out in the middle. You've got an open player. I don't know if Hammertron will see it. They do use that.
Ty Uppa with the disc. Centering again to Hamilton. Quixley now. Earning their creeping down the field with just tiny little undercuts. It only takes one big throw from this distance to get into the end zone, so they won't be too worried as long as that disc continues to move. There's a bit of a bigger gainer over to Wilcock. Not in maybe his preferred area of the field, which is the end zone.
Ooh, here's a big shot, and it's tailing outside the field.
Unfortunate by Will Hamilton.
It was a similar throw he made earlier in the game. He tried to place it so the defense couldn't get it, but it was a very, very difficult throw to make. Throwing over the top of the stack with an inside-out angle on the disc to a narrow channel. Yeah. Really, he just should have been floating it up high. We know what Will can do in the air.
Yeah, as a thrower, you like to have those receivers on your side of the on the other end of the disc who can give you a little bit of leeway for your throws, but unfortunately, you still have to give him a chance.
Yes, he's big, but he's not that big.
Hammertron now looking to transition back into that defensive intensity, and Dogma looking to figure out what they did wrong and punch it in for the win.
Yeah, Dogma cutters are going to be just that much more tired. Good poaches.
Teo Leonard's using his vision downfield to recognize that deep option isn't there. Double coverage down there, good vision. Now Dogma once again maybe seeing an option across field to the break side. Teo Leonard cycling through reset options. Good on Dogma to provide those for him.
Oh.
And Teo Leonard sends one over the head of Jack Lewis.
Quick play now to Wilcock going long would be quite nice, but I think he's a little bit tired.
you can definitely see the exhaustion setting into both teams. Uncharacteristic errors. When your legs get tired, it actually does affect your throws. You see those things pop into the air, just not quite willing to step all the way out to get that form correct. And now Hammertron with the opportunity to bring this game a little bit closer.
Oh,
Wilcock
lovely throw.
Sailing it out for a beautiful catch by number 63, Liam Weston.
Weston spent a lot of time back in the handle space. Caught his defender slightly unaware there by making that cut.
Hammertron going to be really stoked about this one.
Yeah.
14-12, a very winnable game by either team.
Just note the first matchup between these two finished 15-11. We've gone past that score now. Hammertron have got their tails up. 3 more points for them to win this out.
And there you're seeing that throw from Wilcock again, leaving the defender no chance.
Beautiful throw into space. Wilcock used his deep threat well to get the under there. A nice easy pass when he was standing with his hands on his hips for most of that point, for the end of that point. Still able to be useful in the field even with that tiredness setting in. So there's a timeout called.
Going to give both teams a little bit of a rest coming into the last few points of the game. Maximum 3 points remaining in this game.
I'll be interested to know if Dogma or Hammertron called this. If I was Dogma, I'd be resting some of your key offensive players on this point. You've got a big team, you've got plenty of people who can score and do well, but you don't want to wear down the same people multiple points in a row. When you have this kind of buffer, let the team play. Let some fresh legs out there.
On the screen there, you could see the Wellington women's team warming up the Nexus. They're currently warming up on the far field for their upcoming game. You can tune in also on ULTI.TV to see the next women's matchup, which will be streamed here shortly after this game finishes.
That game will feature Cannons and Hammertron. It'll be an excellent matchup. They're two very evenly matched teams.
And Cannons have been having a very good weekend so far. Still looking for that final bit of chemistry in their team, but definitely putting some big threats onto some very strong teams throughout the weekend. All right. Hammertron once again ready to pull, needing this defensive break.
It's a floaty pull. Is it staying in? It is. Well done.
Fielded it in bounds and centered to Jack Lewis quickly. Dogma running a horizontal stack here. And we'll see if we see a bit of a poachy look from Hammertron. In these big open spaces, it can be difficult for the throwers to see poaches. They're going to have to remain aware of that from Hammertron.
Oh, yes.
An amazing,
huge play.
An amazing play there from number 48 to keep that pressure on, using his legs, trailing his player tighter and tighter and tighter as that disc goes up. Earning the turn. This is Hammertron's opportunity.
Good swing here to Poick.
And a big throw goes up to Lucas Wilcock, one of their favorite receivers. Let's see what happens. Oh, he gets a big and absolutely roofs his defender.
Oh,
that's what Hammertron needed.
That was what we're looking for. Wilcock's been waiting for that all game. Put it up in the end zone. I'll bring it down. He has the cockiness of youth and with enough experience to bring it to make these huge plays when they're needed of him. Huge. It's been a huge turnaround, and you can just hear the energy coming from the crowd now.
Just as we said, the momentum could shift. Hammertron could find their energy, and I think they've done just that. That it was a perfectly thrown disc to a receiver right where he would want it, in the sky.
He loves the sky.
There we're seeing that huge rip go up into two defenders. Not going to face Wilcock. Perfectly times his jump and catches the disc well higher than anyone else was looking for it.
And one thing to note, Dogma's offense there was quite stagnant. The Lakatos were very static. They got one downfield pass, and then all the Lakatos got into action. Once nothing happened from there. Again, it was quite stagnant, and that helped Hammertron. The pressure was already building by Dogma's players themselves. Let's see if they can get a bit more flow, a bit more movement now. They've got a bit more experience on the field for this point.
Dogma may be feeling a bit of pressure, but they have done the work early in the game to give themselves a few chances. It really does help with the pressure mounting, realizing that, you know what, we actually earned ourselves a couple of errors early in the game by taking a strong lead. And now Dogma's going to be looking to do that final bit of work as they get so close to the end zone now. With Teo Linnertz with the disc. Centers to Fernando, who gets a nice break throw on the inside to Lewis. And Lee catches it in the end zone. That's the game, folks. Excellent work by Dogma to maintain composure against a very strong rising tide from Hammertron at the end.
That was a great point from Dogma there. That was the offense we've seen from them for most of the first half, most of the second half. Most of the game, to be honest. They moved it nicely. They always looked and took the first option that was open. They had hard cuts at the right moments that just opened up the field a little bit more. Was the Dogma that has deserved the victory in this game.
Absolutely. Really great matchup between the two teams. Dogma out of Christchurch, Hammertron out of Hamilton, New Zealand. And we hope you join us for the next streamed game we have here in Wellington. It will be the women's pre-semi, and it's Cannons from Christchurch versus Hammertron women out of Hamilton. I've been Austin Clark.
And I've been Nick Panu.
Thanks for joining us.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
ULTI.TV